What is going on, guys? Thanks for coming back for yet another video. So today we're going to be covering part 1 of my Kylo Ren The Rise of Skywalker cosplay. So this part 1 is going to serve as a little bit of an introduction to this style of video that we're going to be moving forward with on the channel, but it's also going to be about the sourcing of the costume for the Kylo Ren costume. So to start with the intro, I am not a cosplayer at all, but dressing up has always been something that in the back of my head, that I've found interesting ever since I was young. So when I was young, I had always enjoyed like watching football games, specifically Ohio State football, with my dad, and certainly passing the football back and forth in the yard. That was always very enjoyable to me, but I was never interested in playing tackle football or anything like on organized sports teams and whatnot. But I still found like the idea of owning a tackle football uniform very cool, specifically one like designed like the Ohio State Buckeyes. I thought that would be so cool to have one, even though I was never interested in actually playing tackle football. But so that's, I guess, where some of the interest in doing this kind of thing stems from. So nowadays, being older, having lots more interest in other things such as Star Wars, um, I love Kylo Ren, obviously, from the sequel trilogy. He's one of my favorite characters, probably my favorite character from the sequel trilogy. So now that I can afford to buy it, this is something that I want to that I want to purchase. So to now move on into the sourcing of the costume itself, we're going to start with the helmet, because this is the most expensive piece of the costume. Now the helmet comes from Etsy. So Etsy is basically like an Amazon or an eBay. I've purchased from them before. But it's just a collection of different sellers across the world who make different things, make and sell different things. So my purchase here being um, the Kylo Ren helmet from Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Um, this is the most expensive part of the costume itself. So it's a total of $650 plus $80 to ship, which is a high price, but for the craftsmanship involved in this, it's well worth the money. So it comes from the seller Genta Studio on Etsy, and he has 5-star ratings and 131 sales, and all of the ratings and reviews, if you go down below, are all positive and wonderful from many people who've bought this specific item as well. So I think it's going to be a real prize when it gets here, and not only to wear, but then also to just display in my room with my collection of nerd stuff. But part of what I really like about this helmet, and part of what I like about this helmet is from Episode 9, he rebuilds his helmet, and it's rebuilt with that whatever the stuff is in the movie, but it gives it that red stitching, which I just love. I love the look of it with the red stitching. It embodies the Sith culture uh, that Kylo Ren is. Um, and then secondly, the texturing on this helmet compared to another one on Etsy. Um, I like all the texture that's found in the black of the helmet. It just really catches my eye too. There's only one other helmet here on Etsy that I would say is comparable to this one, and it's even more expensive. And it makes sense because it's a very beautiful helmet. It's worth that price. But to me, it doesn't have as much texture in the black parts of the helmet that this one does, and I like the look of that textured look of the helmet. I think it makes the look for him. And then thirdly, the thing that's cool about this helmet is this faceplate right here, the outermost faceplate. It actually opens up just like it does in the movies. So if you go and watch any of the scenes where he takes his helmet off, before he actually lifts it off of his head, there's that faceplate that sits there. It rises up and makes this mechanical noise, and then he pulls the helmet off. So it somehow does that too, and I don't know how exactly it works, but it should work when it gets here. Hopefully there'll be a little bit of instructions maybe, but it should work. We'll figure it out. We'll do what we need to do. Here's a little bit of a little kind of picture of those mechanics that go into that, but this is going to be a very beautiful piece to have, and it's really what is going to make the costume. It's going to be the best part of it. Okay, so the next piece comes from a different seller on Etsy. Her page is called Crochet and More by GG. Crochet and More by GG. So if you just search that page on Etsy, it'll bring you to her page. Now, she also has a lot of good reviews, 5-star ratings, many more sales than the Genta Studios has. She's also located in the U.S. here, so down in Kentucky, which is not very far from where I am in Ohio. So this is where the neck seal piece is coming from. So now the neck seal piece that she makes for Kylo Ren, it's actually not listed on her page anymore, but what I found it on her page, and then a day or two before I went to order it, it got removed. Now I don't know why it got removed, but what I did was I messaged her. I had to go to my email to retrieve this message, but there we go. Just checking to make sure that's still running. It is. So I messaged her about the neck seal to see if she was still making it. She just said that it got removed from her page, but she does make it. She makes the one I wanted to purchase, and she would make it for me if I submitted the payment. So that's what I did. I went ahead, bought it. Now, you can find a bunch of different Kylo Ren neck seals across the internet, and they all really are the same in the sense that the actual piece that sits on your neck is this layered fabric, basically. So that's pretty much the same across the board for all the different neck seals you can find. But this piece that kind of hangs down on the base of your neck and down on your chest and back and a little bit on your shoulders, that's what's different across all the different neck seals that you can find. So in this one, it's a pretty big piece of fabric that hangs down here. And the reason I like it like this, even though it's not completely accurate to his look in the movie, I like it like this because another part of this costume that will be another video in of itself is the voice changer aspect. So part of that voice changer involves a big speaker that sits preferably close to your mouth. So having this big piece of fabric here that just hangs down is perfect for hiding that speaker under there, and the speaker is also very close to your mouth right there. So when you talk and it projects your voice, it doesn't, like if you have it down by your hip, it's going to be awkward because there's sound coming out, projecting from your hip area and not where it would be normally coming from your mouth. So that will be perfect for that probably. I don't quite know if it will fit under there. It should. The piece looks big enough that that little speaker will fit under there, but that will remain to be seen. This also, partly because it's an easier build and because the seller lives so close to me in the US, this I ordered late last week and it will be here early next week. So the helmet takes 6 to 8 weeks to prepare, and then it ships from China, so that's going to be at least a week, if not 2 weeks in of itself to ship. So that should be getting, I ordered that early May, so that should be getting here late June to very early July. So that will be probably the last piece that gets here, but this next seal is going to be getting here within a week, within less than a week probably. And that will be the first thing that we will review, the second part of this video series. So that was the neck seal. Now we will go and look at the bulk of the costume itself. So we've looked at the helmet and the neck seal. The costume itself is coming from a website, if I can spell, called Easy Cosplay. Yep, I got it. So Easy Cosplay is one of many different cosplay costuming websites that you can find on the internet, and they're basically all from China. So you have to do your research basically. And a lot of the ones that I looked at reviews for, they all had bad reviews, and this one was the only one really that had some decent reviews to it. And I basically found 5 different review websites with some simple Google searching, and 3 of those websites that I found had a majority negative reviews, but the thing is they only had about 15 reviews per site. Now the other two websites that I looked at, they had a majority positive reviews for easy cosplay, and also the number of they had many more reviews on each of those websites. They had like 15,000 reviews, and if a majority of them are positive, that's a good indication. If a majority of the reviews are negative, but there's only 15 or 20 reviews, that doesn't say a whole lot about the whole world that could be ordering from them. So it seemed like a decently safe purchase. I don't really know, and if I get burned by this, then that's a lesson learned, I guess. But we'll go ahead and find the costume for you. It should load up here. Yep, here we are. So again, it's the Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker Kylo Ren costume, cosplay, whatever you want to call it. So this costume includes, if I can get it to go down, it includes the undershirt, the tunic, the pants, the cape slash hood, the boots, the gloves, and the belt. So if we look at each piece individually, the undershirt is basically just a long sleeve shirt that's black, and the sleeves are that layered textured fabric that is the same as the neck seal. Now on the neck seal piece, that product looks like it's made out of faux leather, which is just fake leather. And I don't think that this costume is that same material. It looks to be more fabric, but that's okay. That's perfectly fine. So that's the undershirt. Basically just a black long sleeve shirt with layered fabric on the sleeves. Now the tunic, that's the back of it. The tunic is basically a shirt with no sleeves that zips up the front, which I don't think is accurate to the movie. I'll have to check. I'll look up a picture here in a minute. But that doesn't really bother me. It's fine. But it's just a tunic that has square stitching all over it. So yeah, that looks accurate. And then you put the belt around the midsection. Now, the only other parts that are included in it are the pants. Now the pants, they don't really concern me. I mean, as long as they're black, that is accurate enough for me. Then next we move on to the boots. Now the boots I think are really well done. They might look like shit in person, but that will remain to be seen when the costume gets here. But they look pretty accurate to the movie with the texture that they're made with, and then the double buckling system both down at the ankle and up on the calf. That looks all accurate to the movie. And then finally there's just the gloves. Yeah, that's the only piece that's left is... No, sorry, there's the cape. So they have the gloves. If the gloves aren't long enough, as in they don't go far enough up the wrist, and then they, in conjunction with the sleeve, if there's some wrist showing, maybe I'll probably just go find some leather gloves that are a little bit longer out at some store somewhere and use those, because it's just leather gloves basically. There's nothing that's too accurate or inaccurate about those. That will be something easy to find if these gloves don't work. Then finally, I neglected to talk about the cape slash hood. There. Okay, so this is from the front basically, but we'll move to the back. So the thing I like about this is that the hood looks accurate to, in my opinion, looks accurate to the movie. So it's not just a hood that lays flat on your back. It has layers to it, and that's what I like for his episode 9 look. And then the cape looks decently textured, and it looks more like a faux leather, or I know it's not faux leather because that would be much more expensive. It would add drastically to the price of this thing, but it just looks good. Now it looks a little bit different than his outfit in the movie. His outfit in the movie, the cape looks more of an aged leather, or a cotton, more not cotton, but a more soft fabric, not a leathery look. But I am fine with the way that the easy cosplay version looks. But if we pull up a picture, if we can find a good one of his episode 9 costume. Oh, computer, let's load. I was just looking at one a minute ago, so I know it'll be here. Yeah, here we go. So it doesn't look very leathery, this cape. But I'm completely fine with the way that this one looks. I think it looks very gorgeous for for the rest of the costume and what it is. Um, but yeah, so that is basically the three components that will make the costume in itself. So the only other things that are left, one I touched on earlier, is the voice changing system. Now that will be a series, one video probably, of how that is all done. So yeah, that'll come later. I have a whole system that's should be worked out fairly good for that. Um, that's based off another YouTube video that I will give credit to when that video comes. But that should be very, very good. It's in this certain YouTuber that I found this system for that he has set up for the voice changer. It sounds very much like Adam Driver in the movie. So I will be very excited to do that. Then the only other piece that would come is the lightsaber. So I don't have a Kylo Ren lightsaber, but that's something that would you have to complete the look. Um, Now I don't know if I'd get one that has the blade to attach to it, or if I'd just get one that sits on the belt. I don't know that at this point, but there will be a lightsaber at one point to sit on the belt. Um, but that is part one of Kylo Ren: The Rise of Skywalker cosplay. So yeah, it's gonna be very fun over the next few weeks getting the different parts to this. I'm most excited for the helmet. Um, I'm most nervous, I would say, about the costume itself, with the cape and the boots and everything that goes with that, because it's just coming from some random website in China. So hopefully, I have faith that it's all going to turn out good, and that everything's going to look fantastic. But that's what I'm most nervous about. I'm most excited for the helmet for sure. That helmet is just sick. It looks awesome and very accurate to what you see in the movie. So yeah, it's gonna be a journey here getting this thing put together, but I'm very excited. So thanks for sticking around with me today, and certainly like, subscribe, and comment down below. Tell me what I'm doing good, what I'm doing wrong, what I need to improve on. Um, but yeah, thanks for being here with me today. Watch out for future videos to come over the next few weeks, and many more to come in the future. So check out the my latest video, the Marvel Comics Let's Talk Episode 1. I'm currently reading the Infinity Gauntlet series, so go check that out. There'll be plenty more videos to come with that. But have a great rest of your day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in part 2.